Duc in altum. Duc in altum. Now there will be a test at the end of this. These are the Latin words that Jesus told the apostles in the gospel today. They mean put out into the deep. Put out into the deep. These were also favorite words of Pope John Paul II. At the end of the Jubilee year 2000, the Pope wrote a document that had the English title, At the Beginning of the New Millennium. The opening words of the document were, Duc in altum, as Jesus had told the apostles, to cast their nets into the deep. The Pope set forth a kind of mission statement for what he hoped the church would do in the time that we were about to begin at that time, a new millennium. He quoted the words of Jesus, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men." This is the same thing that Pope Francis says that he thinks the church should do. He puts it this way, to go out to the peripheries, to the edge. That's where the church should be found. The intent of both popes, John Paul II as well as Francis, is that the church should not remain locked in on itself, but rather, as Jesus said, do not be afraid to reach out especially to those who, for some reason, may feel alienated, on the edge, or those who have not yet heard the good news that Jesus came to bring. From now on, you will be catching men, Jesus told the apostles. It is to these, the alienated, those on the edge, that Jesus came to bring the gospel, the good news of salvation. But today, my friends, he says the same thing to us. Jesus is telling us today, Duc in altum, put out into the deep. Do not be afraid to reach out. This mission is given to all believers, to all those who seek to follow the Lord. All the baptized are given this same vocation to reach out, to give witness by the conduct of our lives. At the time that Jesus spoke these words to the apostles, they were all there was. There was no church as we know it today. The apostles, along with the Blessed Mother, Mary, were it. They were the first disciples. But today, we all are privileged to be Jesus' disciples in the world. Not just with those with an official calling, but every person who has been cleansed in baptism is a disciple of the Lord. The Second Vatican Council emphasized this, that the whole church, all the baptized, all the people of God, are able to participate in the mission of the church. We certainly see that in the various liturgical ministries that are carried out every Sunday at Mass. The lectors, the cantors, the servers, communion ministers, ushers, etc. But the privilege of participation in the Mass is not limited to those up here. Vatican II says that all the members of the congregation are to be active participants in the celebration of the liturgy, called to full, conscious, and active participation in the Mass. For me, that was perhaps the most difficult aspect of the pandemic lockdown, when it was not possible for us to share the celebration of Sunday Mass with the congregation. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to celebrate with and for the faithful. But Sunday's not all there is, my friends. We're to reach out, to put out into the deep every day by the witness we give in our daily lives, by the care and concern we show for the poor and the vulnerable, the lonely and the outcast. Do we treat each other respectfully, even when we might disagree with the other person? Unfortunately, I think we've seen in recent history too much lack of respect for others. However, having said that, if there was anything positive about the snow and ice storm this week, it was that we saw people out helping others, helping their neighbor clear the snow, help them out of drifts, etc. This is putting out into the deep. You never know what you're going to find in a snowdrift, do you? But the thing is, who knows what can come from such kindness? This is putting out into the deep, showing care and concern for others. Such activity is the mission of the church because it is the mission that Jesus has given to us. In all that we do, we are invited, as Pope John Paul II said, to put out into the deep, to trust, to follow, and to risk everything for Jesus, as the apostles did in the gospel and as St. Paul did in the second letter today. In fact, Paul even boasted a little bit and said he works harder than all the rest, that he's still a saint. And then Pope John Paul concluded, "Duc in altum," he said. These words invite us to remember the past with gratitude, to live the present with enthusiasm, and to look forward to the future with confidence. With God's help, may it be so.